Hello, all my beautiful heart healers. This is Harriet. I hope y'all are doing great today. It is sunshiny where I'm at, and I'm loving it. After all the cold weather and all the yuck, we finally got some blue skies and some sunshine, so it has put me in a great mood, if you couldn't tell. I want to talk today about feeling overwhelmed, and I had a situation earlier this week, actually. Well, I've had plenty of situations where I felt overwhelmed, but a friend of mine was feeling that way too, and they were just pretty much kicking themselves for feeling overwhelmed. And I thought, that's something that a lot of us struggle with. And whether you're an empath or not, empaths, I think it probably hits us more so because we place such high standards on ourselves, and yes, we are sensitive to begin with, and we've already talked about that. We're sensitive. We know that we're sensitive. We don't have to be told, but we know. And so when you add the frustration in of feeling overwhelmed and feeling like you are failing at what you're trying to do, then that just makes everything kind of compounded, makes it that much worse. And so I want to tell you today that when you feel that way, you are not a weirdo. You are not a failure. It doesn't mean that you have failed everyone, that you suck. It doesn't mean that you are the worst person in the world and you can't do anything right. It doesn't mean any of that. It means that because you are an emotional person, and because you truly try to do your best, you try to give your all, you try to give 125% of whatever you do. And so when you place those expectations on yourself, number one, no one's perfect. And number two, nobody can meet those expectations, not even you. As awesome as you are, not even you, not even me, none of us. But that doesn't stop us from trying. And we will try to get there if we can. But when you can't meet those expectations, then you start to feel overwhelmed. You start to feel like the walls are closing in, whether it's a work situation, whether it's bills, money, relationships, whatever has reared its ugly head at the moment. But here you are, trying to do your best, trying to do well. And even if you don't realize that you're trying to do 100+%, it's just kind of in your makeup that you are. You might be thinking, no, I'm just trying to just get by or do whatever. But the fact of the matter is that I think for most of us, you are trying to do your best. And that, some people are just kind of happy to just schlep along in life. And whether you're an empath or not, there are people who are not empathic who are the same way. You're going to try and give everything you've got. So this is for anybody and everybody that has felt this way. You're trying to give it your all, and you don't want to let anybody down. And then when you're not succeeding the way you feel like, when you're not understanding something, or when you bit off more than you can chew and you didn't realize it until you're already trying to swallow that big bite down at the last minute, and you feel like you're going to choke up, then you start feeling overwhelmed. And then you start berating yourself for it. You start kicking yourself for it. You start thinking that you're a failure, or that you're no good, or that you just suck at everything you try. I've had people tell me this before, and it breaks my heart when I hear that. And I tell them, no, you don't suck at everything. You're not a failure. Just because this was a tough issue, that's all it was. This was a tough issue. So I want to say some things that when you do catch yourself feeling that way, number one, don't kick yourself for feeling that way. It is a natural emotion, and you have every right to feel that way because you have put these demands on yourself, and other people have put demands on you. You might have a boss at work that that is telling you that maybe hasn't given you everything you need to do your job, but yet they expect you to just pull everything out of your butt, so to speak, and be a superhero, and that's frustrating too. And so you're going to try to rise to the occasion, but then, and it might not even be yourself making you feel that way. It might partially be yourself, but other people are really good at making us feel that way too. And because of their lack of preparedness, their lack of understanding of what the job truly entails, it's really easy to sit back and supervise someone else and tell them, you need to do this, you need to do that, why aren't you doing this, and why aren't you doing that? You try getting in there and doing that job with the information or people, resources, whatever, and you see how good you do. So, and those are things that we can't help. We have no control over that, It's just one of those things that we have to realize, okay, no one could do this the way that they're wanting it done. And I just happen to be the lucky one in this position. So whatever situation that you find yourself in, try to keep that in mind. Those are things that we can't control. And it is natural to feel overwhelmed, so don't feel like that you're just a nothing or a nobody or that you can't do anything right. So some things that I want to remind you about when you start to feel that way. Number one, take a step back. If you are on the job, take a literal step back. Excuse yourself to go to the restroom, or if it's break time or something, or take your break, whenever you can. If it's a relationship, take some time out to like maybe go take an afternoon in the park or spend some time with a friend or a loved one. Something that will help you feel better about yourself. People who will help you remember how awesome you are. Because this is important. And what I want you to do, and in fact, if you want to do that today, it might be a great thing to do. That way you can pull it out of your back pocket or out of your purse, out of your wallet, whatever, the next time you start to feel this way. This is homework. And I've never done this before, so a little bit of homework won't hurt. This is good homework. I want you to get a piece of paper and a pen. And heck, make it one of those like bright, funky colored pens. Those ones that are like lime green or purple or pink or whatever pen you want. If you don't have one, then whatever you got. But something that'll make you, some pretty paper, something that'll draw your attention. And when you start to feel that way, I want you to look at this. I want you to write down things that you are truly good at. Make a list. It doesn't matter if there's one thing, 2 things, 5 things, 10 things. This is about how awesome you are. This is about things that will remind you that you are good at lots of things, and no one is good at everything. And think of it this way, okay? Let's look at the human body. And you probably know where I'm going with this. You've probably heard it before, but it's worth repeating. We have a head, we have fingers, we have toes, we got belly buttons, we got, all kinds of stuff. And each part has its own function. We can't all be the head. If we were a body full of heads, we'd just look weird. We can't be all fingers or all toes. Everybody has their function. And the belly button has a function too. That was your function of before you were born. That was how you were sustained in your mother's womb. So even that has a function. So, some of us might be belly buttons, some of us might be big toes, some of us might be a pinky finger, some of us might be an ear or a mouth or whatever the case may be. But we all have our place our niche where we fit in. And if we're not in that niche, and most of the time we aren't going to find ourselves in that place where we feel comfortable and where we excel at everything and stuff like that. A lot of times we are going to be outside of our comfort zone. We're going to have situations come up to where we have to pretty much fake it till we make it. So I want you to write this list down of things that you're good at. Number one on the list, I can already tell you, if you're listening to this podcast and you're an empath, you could say, Hooray has told me to write this one down. I am a good listener. You're listening to me right now. You're a good listener. That needs to be at the top of everybody's list. If you are a good person, if you take care of stray animals when you see them, if you are good on the computer, if you are good at organizing, good at paying the bills. You know, some people are really bad at that, and that's a good thing to be good at, is good at keeping the money organized. Just anything. If you're good at art or music or making people laugh, any skill that you have, and you might be surprised once you start narrowing it down, you might have quite a few things that you didn't realize that you were really good at. So write that down. Keep it in a handy little place where you can easily find it. If you have to put yourself a little note on the home part of your phone, on your desktop part, or of your computer, to remind yourself that you have that piece of paper. Do whatever you need to do. But when you start to feel overwhelmed, or like you are just no good at anything, or you can't do things right, I want you to pull that piece of paper out, and I want you to start reading out loud to yourself if you can. Let your ears hear yourself talking. And that's the reason why I say out loud. It's good to read it to yourself, and if that's all you can do, that's fine. But if not, try to read it to yourself out loud, because that way you are, even though it's yourself and your voice, you're hearing someone encourage you. And remember, okay, I'm just having a bad day, or this is just a sucky job, or my boss just really doesn't understand how to be a good boss. And I've had bosses like that. I've had people who were really good people, great to know, but did not know how to lead. And then they take those frustrations out on everyone around them because they don't think it's them. It must be everyone else. So keep all of those things in mind. And don't be so hard on yourself, because I bet you're going to find out that there's lots of things that you're really good at. So take that step back and give yourself some breathing room. Number two thing you need to do, especially if you're in a moment and you're feeling overwhelmed and it could even become a panic attack or something of that nature, you've got to get some space to yourself. You know, like I say, you make a beeline for wherever you need to be. Get some space to yourself and breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Not so quickly that you hyperventilate. That's not going to help anything. But slowly and deeply, just breathe that in. If you feel like you are on the verge of a panic attack, try to think of tangible things. And this is something my daughter actually suffers with those, and this is something that has helped her. Think of starting with the number 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can smell, or something like that. Just those kind of tangible things, anything that would keep your mind kind of occupied and from veering off to places where it shouldn't, just to kind of get things back on track. And remind yourself, and this is something that I actually tell my folks where I work at. I'm an assistant supervisor, and I have the fortune of having wonderful people that I work with, and I try to kind of look out for them. I guess I kind of mother them a little bit, but I love those people. They are my extended family, and I will try to look out for them. And whenever they're having bad days, or our boss is giving us something that's difficult or whatever, I look at them and I tell them this. I say, the way I see it, if it's not a life or death matter, we can get through it. The world will not end. The sun will not stop shining if this one thing is a little late or isn't done 100% to perfection. Things can be fixed. And if it is a life or death matter, then I realize there's other things going on. But I'm just talking about your basic day-to-day things and things that pop up that make you feel overwhelmed, whatever it may be. If it's not life or death, you can handle it. It's not, if people are not happy about something, oh well, they'll get over it. If they don't like the way you said something or the way you did something, or they don't think you can do it, so what? If they want to pitch a hissy fit, they're the ones with the problem. Let them be upset about something that doesn't matter worth a hill of beans. The only things that matter in life are people and animals. I mean, life is what matters in life. Whether something is sitting on a shelf correctly, or whether something goes overdue a day, or something isn't just perfect, all of that is fixable. And I guess that's the main thing that I want to get across to you, is most of the things, or like even in a relationship, and relationships are tough, especially when things start to go bad and you feel like your world is falling down around you. And I've been there. I was married for 18 years and separated for 2 of the last 2 years. And because the person that I planned to spend the rest of my life with, I found out was cheating on me. And after that, I was a single mom for a while. So I know how tough things can be. And you talk about faking it till you make it. I was doing a lot of that. And I was doing a lot of feeling dead inside. So I understand. But you just have to keep reminding yourself, basically, the sun is going to shine. Life is going to go on. You will meet someone. I did. And I know you will. You will meet someone who thinks you are the bomb diggity, the hot dog on a stick. And we have to go through the bad sometimes before we can get through the good. So you just hang in there and have faith and have hope. And just know that, like I said in the last podcast, I think it was, that this too shall pass. That's a time when I was using that a lot. And sometimes you just have to remind yourself of that. And I know it's not easy. But those are the things you have to tell yourself, especially if you have children. If you have kids that depend on you, or your pets that depend on you, your reason for getting up in the morning, you just have to keep taking it day by day by day by day. And one day, when you get up, you're going to notice it's a little bit easier and a little bit easier. I promise you, it will happen. But you have to learn not to stay in that place of regret or what if. The land of what if is not a good place to be. It's very counterproductive. It doesn't do anyone any good. Just like they say, hindsight is 20/20. I mean, I have regrets that I've made in my own life. And the goal of my life was always to not have any regrets. But then I realized that this is life. Regrets come with the package. It's part of our learning experience. And you can't be too hard on yourself for those regrets, because they are part of what shapes you and makes you a better person, so that you can maybe help somebody else down the road, or learn from your own mistakes. And sometimes the hardest thing to do is to come to terms with regrets that you feel like you've made. And that's something that you'll have to do. No one can do that for you. But I will tell you that you are worth it, and that nobody's perfect, and we all have regrets, and we all make mistakes. Just different ones. But it is part of the human experience. So I got a little sidetracked there, but I feel like maybe there were some folks that needed to hear that, so I'm going to have faith that you did need to hear it, and if you did, I hope it helped you. And if you ever just need a listening ear, you write me, hiraeth.ser, that's hiraeth.ser@gmail.com. And I don't check my mail all the time, but I do check it, and I will read it, and if I can, I'll respond to it. If not, if you don't hear from me back, like, quickly, I will answer you back. It might just take me a bit to get to it. But if you ever just want to write and share your experience or something like that, then I'm more than happy to listen. So, we talked about writing down all the stuff that you're good at and the awesome person that you are. Taking a breather, step back and take some deep breaths. And if you start to feel panicky, try to concentrate on things that are tangible, using all your senses, your hearing, your sight, your touch, your taste, all of those. And the next thing would be just to kind of just chill for as long as you can in that moment of peace that you've tried to create for yourself. If you're at work, it's harder to do because you don't have that liberty. But as soon as you are able to, treat yourself. Think, I had a really bad day today, and I'm going to do something, not something that's bad for you or dangerous for you or anything like that, but just something that you enjoy. If you like coffee, heck, stop by a coffee shop and treat yourself to a nice cup of coffee. If you like lattes, I love lattes. I love lattes a latte. Throw you some whipped cream in there and some, whatever, make you a nice creamy cup of coffee. Or if you like ice cream, or if you do art, stop and get you maybe a new thing of paint or some brushes, or I don't know, whatever you enjoy, whatever makes you smile. Treat yourself a little bit, because you deserve a little bit of a reward for going through that. So instead of berating yourself and kicking yourself and feeling like you just can't do anything right, realize that you are human. Remind yourself of the good things that you're good at, and do a little something nice for yourself, because you deserve it. And there may not be anybody else that's going to do it, so you might as well be you. In those moments, you can be your own best friend. You're like, I'm going to take care of you, girl. I got you, boy. We're going to go do this. Says don't go into severe debt, or go buy a car. Don't do anything like that. Don't make any rash decisions. Cut your hair. That could be bad. But you know what I'm talking about. So that's all I got to say. This actually ran over a little bit longer than I intended, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it made you laugh. And just remember, you're not perfect. And I know you're going to strive to be. And it's great to have that characteristic that you want to strive for perfection, but none of us are going to make it. None of us are going to make it there. So do the best you can. Cut yourself some slack, and try to cut the people around you some slack when they are not understanding, and just realize they don't get it, because hatred and anger and stuff, that won't get you anywhere. They won't even realize it most of the time. All it'll do is hurt you and ruin your day. So you don't need that. You got enough going on. But yeah, just step back and give yourself a few moments and realize that you're okay and that this will be all right and that you will get through it. So, hope you have a wonderful, beautiful, sunshiny week. And until next time, I love y'all. Bye. Bye.